to a washing bay, you don't pay particular interest to, for example, the fuel gauge. And yet, what you didn't know is they steal your fuel. On my investigative story, I'm going to be showing you evidence that some fuel is siphoned out of your car, so you should be careful where you take your car for washing. But first things first, we have to fill up my car to half tank so that we are able to take this car to a washing bay and have some people do what they do best. Well, join me as we go to one of the fuel stations to fuel up, and then later we shall go to the washing bay. The nearest petrol station to refill is City Oil. I only fill up to half tank for easy monitoring if there's any fuel that has been siphoned out by the end of the investigation. This is key because many of us do not mark where the fuel gauge is before we take our cars to the washing bay. So I'm going to meet a source who is, well, he's been in this business of washing cars for quite a while. So he told me that it is done in a very clandestine style, so you cannot know. So that source is going to help me get just the detail of how this is done and the technique that is used. In order to understand this covert operation, I earlier on made a contact with a source who was an active member of the team, even though he has since rid himself from that habit. Some of the people who have raised the red flag about fuel theft at different washing bays have one thing in common, that it often happens at washing bays along the Mulago Kubiri stretch, in Bwaise, among other washing bays. So I decide to follow the lead of the Mulago Kubiri stretch. No doubt, the stretch is dotted with several washing bays, some with restaurants where customers sit to enjoy a meal as they wait for their cars. First, I meet up with a source that suggested that we first wash the car and then he will drive it at one of the prominent washing bays where they have a high appetite for fuel. The plan is that he will tell his former colleagues that he wants to extract some fuel from the car as part of his payment, since I often don't pay him on time. That will sound like a viable explanation for him to return to the washing bay where he previously worked. Plan concluded. Time for action. First, we position our cameras at an elevated view where we can monitor whatever will happen. We also wire our undercover source with a mic to pick every information and conversation. Once we are set, it is time to move. We follow the vehicle closely to the washing bay. In order to get a clear view, he parks the vehicle in a position where we can monitor every action. Once the request is made, the execution starts. The process is called okukama emari, loosely translated as milking out the money. The professional at this job is this fella in a yellow t-shirt. He's called Kagege.
Nekativo nenze ati ntia kativo bote kamuli olupia terinza kutukiramu.
Teke amuna.
Ya simulula wansi. Eh? Chupa bili ziba zimala. Anti katola olaba wali. Mbasagala anti wali waliwo aleta mizogani mbasagala yalabe.
As we watch from a distance, I'm wondering what could happen to my car. Kagege moves under the vehicle, opens up a screw, creating a leakage where the fuel will pass. He then uses a cutout jerrycan which he places under the fuel tank to collect the fuel. Afterwards, he opens the petrol tank lid and then the fuel flows out.
Tagalo jemu manji Kagege. Embassy. Mbadde nkyayoza. Ataliiwo nze ngenda kubalanga ate ngimutwali. Naye ate kati mu wano bazibalekera bulekezi ne bazisanga. Amwalekerawo simanyi lekerawo.
This whole process happens in just 5 minutes. My undercover source is then told to move the vehicle away.
Mwana gunyeza omusumaali wansi. Angambye mbu bateekamu lupiya. Musumula wansi musumaali. Ati kati. Ngende maaso.
So that Kagege would get the cutout jerrycan with the fuel. He then puts that small cutout jerrycan in a bigger jerrycan, likened to the one they often use to collect water, which they use for washing the car.
Kati awo zisente meka.
Ali chupa bili za kanani.
Nana, anti kati nze mbadde ngamba.
Waje musafu nenkuwa mukwa.
Ulira mbadde ngamba. Kuweya akaga. Nze nga twale ngeetere mu pichi naye nsooka kutwala eno nenkoma oluvannyuma ecupa bbiri nkomewo nzinoni.
Balizeza nga kutereke.
Gatereke. Ekitegeera.
Nabaja.
Gateeka mu pichi. Sha. Olwo mba nkola biki naawe.
Immediately, he moves to a nearby bush, which looks like a collection center for all the fuel siphoned out from various vehicles. He collects 2 liters of petrol, which he puts in a mineral water bottle, then packs them in an open jerrycan for delivery. During the process, Kagege, the expert that he is, reveals more information on how the job is done.
Eno yoka gye muyita wansi yoka.
Eno ila wansi.
Ya wansi.
Omusumaali yonna bayita wansi.
Wansi.
N'akagulandi aliteza kuluga aliya.
Ali.
Naziba za wansi.
Ate primo.
Za wansi kulanga.
Nazo wansi.
Si ya musumaali ya kulanga.
Kati moroka kina kijje mukuba olupiira. Moroka kijje oyinza.
Tiekisi. Tuwalingi. 10. Corona.
Za rupiya mutanga. Kale.
Once the deal is done, my source drives out of the washing bay, returning the vehicle to the base where we had stationed. He then returned to the washing bay to pick his fuel. As we keep observing, another car arrives at the washing bay for a wash-up. Kagege is already on standby to do what he does best. Luckily for the owner, she keeps around as they wash her car. But as we keep watch of the washing bay, one of the men noticed us filming. We are suspicious that he tipped off Kagege that he was being monitored. We also realized that some of the petrol that has been extracted from various cars is sold to border cyclists, as seen here in this footage, at a cost of between 2,800 to 3,000 shillings per litre. For whatever we could have missed, we asked our source to describe for us his experience.
Ecupa 3 angambye azigula mutwalo. Naye ate kati imagine bw'oba ogenze ku service omutwalo tegugula lita 3. Yeah. Kati kugamba yakola kifiiriza. Kiraba. Yaba akola kifiiriza kufuna ki za mangu.
So we've just returned from one of the washing bays. Like I said, you should take notice of your fuel gauge every time you take your car to a washing bay. So this particular one, we've been able to get 2 liters of petrol. Now this is the fuel that was removed from my car at one of the washing bays, and particularly around Wandegear. So you need to be very careful. So these are the 2 liters that they got from my car. What I observed is that the fuel gauge had a slight change which could easily go unnoticed, which perhaps explains why some people may not notice that their fuel has been stolen. With this evidence, it is true that there are a number of washing bays where they steal fuel along the Mulago Kubiri stretch, confirming the allegations that have been made by several people. Solomon Serwanja, NBS, live at 9.